Cam got hit.
We're back. It's the Big Go Belt Wrestling Podcast for another one, DJ Khaled style. I'm Jamal, your host this evening, and we have two James on the guy to my left, and we have from the Three Black Geeks podcast, 3blackgeeks.com and all of that. CJ, how you doing, sir?
What is up, man?
Two James, what's up, man?
What's up, dude?
So welcome today back. We're going to talk about the little movie that could, Triple Threat. It is probably a movie that if you haven't heard of it by now, if you have heard of it by now, then you've probably seen it. If you haven't heard of it by now, then you will be seeing it this weekend because it is a damn interesting movie. We're going to get into a little bit of that right now. So before we give our opinions and our thoughts on it, let me just give like the brief synopsis.
Also, can you just make it very clear that Triple Threat is not Triple Frontier?
It's two differences.
It's two different movies, people. There's one more person asked me about it. I'm really going to lose my shit. Like it's two different movies.
Don't get it twisted. Both of them are really good movies anyway.
Yeah, just two different. We're talking Triple Threat here.
You will never hear me mention Triple Frontier.
Triple Threat, the one with the three Asians.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, buddy.
So, Triple Threat stars really everybody. Tiger Chen, Tony Jaa, Iko Uwais, Scott Adkins, Michael Jai White, Michael Bisping, Jija Yanin, who you may remember from the movie Chocolate, Thailand movie from 2004 or 5, something like that.
Yeah.
Just a hell of a martial artist in her own right. And the long and short of it is that we beat up with these Western mercenaries, Michael Jai White and Tiger Chen and Tony Jaa are their like local guides, and they're trying to save this village, or so we think, except low-key they go rogue and they're just trying to break out their boss, Scott Adkins, and who has some dirty work for them to do. Not really feeling the Westerns' hospitality as they, murder an entire village. Tony Jaa, Iko, and Tiger Chen try to right the wrongs and go on their own way to infiltrate the Western group and stop them from assassinating a Chinese entrepreneur who wants to develop in this fictional Southeast Asian country whose name really doesn't matter. Honestly, it's Thailand. I don't know why they didn't just say that it was Thailand. But, but if you really want to know where Maya Jaya is, don't look it up. Carmen Sandiego, never been there. So the story... we can get to what you guys think in a second, but for me the story is it's pretty basic. You don't really have to think too hard about it because honestly we're really here for the matchups, and it's not like a John Wick type of gunplay revenge movie. This is your trio of do-gooders, your trio and / small army of bad guys and antagonists, and they're going to have it out. So let me ask you, CJ, first. Do you think this was one of those movies that we saw coming? Like, when you first heard about it and you saw the names and you saw the people come together, what did you initially think of it and how it came versus how it actually came about?
When I saw the list of people and stuff, I was already hyped because I watched the hell out of Man of Tai Chi.
Mm-hmm.
With Tiger Chen, and I love the Raid series and such. So I already off the break was already in. More than anything else, I think the only person on the list and stuff that I kind of was very much questioning was Michael Bisping, just because I'm not saying I'm a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of him, but it was just like, he's kind of odd man out considering everybody is like pretty much an accomplished martial artist in some sort of way, But I was very much hype.
Oh, that's cruel.
It's cruel, but it's like Michael Bisping seemed like he's odd man out a little bit to me.
The thing about
as a person that doesn't know MMA, I 100% agree with that.
the thing about it is he is an accomplished martial artist. He's just not an accomplished martial artist on the big screen. But
let me rephrase that.
On the big stage of UFC, he's absolutely, up there with the great. So, but that's a fair assessment, which is it's really great because it goes into my point where it's crazy. Me and Jamal talked extensively about this, but I'll just talk about Michael Bisping and give back to Jamal. It is really good that in typical movies where MMA fighters typically don't get a good showing. We've seen Ronda Rousey in Fast and the Furious.
He was about 22 also. That was
exactly
not very good.
That's thank you for bringing it up too. The only time I've ever seen a good fighter get a good showing was actually GSP in Winter Soldier.
But that was the most mobile GSP has ever looked ever.
Oh my God. Yeah. my God. But yeah, it was good that Michael Bisping got a fair showing in this movie. Yeah. And not just that, you did get to see how his skill set is definitely different from everyone else. His execution, his IQ about tactics of fighting people, you saw it on display. And for the guys who doesn't watch UFC or any type of MMA at all, you did see a lot of his sparring techniques being utilized in the movie, which was super authentic, and I truly appreciate what they did with him in this movie.
Yeah. So for both of you guys, what do you say to the people that says that this is just an Expendables ripoff? Or
it's not, but that's the funny thing about this is that it never came off like an Expendables ripoff. Like when you watch the Expendables, right? You look at what the Expendables is made up of, basically old school from the 80s and 90s action stars with the splice of Terry Crews and what's his face goddamn, what the fuck is that dude's name? MMA dude.
Randy Couture.
Randy Couture and stuff. But everybody else is people that you've seen in the 80s and 90s and possibly early 2000s that have been out here kicking ass and taking names and stuff. And then the third one introduced Ronda Rousey and all these other new people and stuff. So with this one, it's not really Expendables. It's basically, hey, these are people that are still doing action movies to this day. Still, I don't even call that Expendables. It's just no, these people are still doing it to this day. They ain't has-beens,
Yeah.
So, I was gonna say my easy answer is that this movie actually worked. So you have an all-star cast, but it worked. It wasn't just a big abundance of names and one-liners between each other and whatever, but this absolutely worked. And what I mean by worked is that you did get to get a good display of everyone's significance of their style of martial arts, as well as the combinations of them fighting each other that you didn't even know. I mean, it's quick to be ignorant here and say two people know karate because they're Asian. So whatever, but it's not that at all. Yeah. By no means, no stretch of it. And Jamal brought up a good point, which I'm sure he'll get to at some point. That again, this movie just really it just was a great appreciation for anybody who loves these type of movies to see an all-star cast all put together in the movie, and it was just fluent. It was absolutely art in its purest form in martial arts.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
yep. I'm going to say that's kind of a point that I am getting to about what I liked about it the most, and I guess we can kind of run through that a bit now. Personally, I did like the most that this was a really cohesive film. Yes, the story is pretty bare bones, but as far as a lot of the setups to different matchups, not really so much insofar as foreshadowing, but just the things that you didn't know that you needed. We get, Tony Jaa versus Iko off the break, and you're like, well, I don't need to see the rest of the movie. I mean, do I need to pay twice? I mean, I think I may owe AMC $10. So,
yeah.
And then the ending was pretty legit. Scott Adkins playing a bad guy, which doesn't really happen too often. Yeah. And also with the story, if you watch the trailer and versus the pre-release press, and from a Western perspective, it's these Western guys that I know and generally like, and hopefully you're familiar with the other guys in it, and they're going to do some Western guy things, and it's going to be okay. And then the story obviously gets flipped, as now we have three Asian protagonists in a movie battling the West for, essentially moral superiority, as it relates to the relevance of the story. And I think that's something that we don't see enough of in the world generally in movies. This isn't a white savior film.
No.
This is not at all. This is quite actually the opposite of that, and which was a different perspective coming into the film based on trailers and reactions.
Yeah.
So let's just go around once. What was the biggest thing that stood out for you in the film? Go ahead, CJ.
I think the final fight. Well, actually, it's really just the action set pieces themselves because, like you said, it's like the movie knew. Okay, we're going to pair these two people up to fight. Okay, we're going to pair these two people to fight because they didn't fight and they haven't fought yet. All right, let's pair these people up, and it made sense. It wasn't just like forced fighting and stuff. It was like everybody got a chance to kind of touch each other in some sort of way, And I think maybe because of the director is a stunt coordinator, anyways. That's probably why this movie, the fight scenes and everything was so cohesive and stuff to where you only needed a bare minimum story anyway. So, but I think the finale of this movie is what really kind of set it off, if anything, because they were able to just go all out and nobody looked weak. Nobody looked weak at all. Like, I was worried Michael Jaa White was going to get like shortchanged, and I was like, oh yeah.
Well.
Wait your turn.
Okay.
I was worried that he was going to get shortchanged. He didn't feel shortchanged, but there were times where I'm like, he should be doing more. But I don't mind his quips. But I think the final fight, it was fine for what it is. Could have been better, yeah. But I was fine with it. There's going to be something in there that's going to be like lacking, but it's nothing that's going to hurt the movie. But I did enjoy the finale and stuff, and everybody kind of getting their hands on what's his face in the final fight and stuff. So it was actually Scott Adkins. It was pretty good. Scott Adkins, like you said, when he's playing a villain, he's on fire, big time and stuff, from his little short stint as a bad guy in Undisputed 2, and then boom, he's in Expendables 2 as the bad guy, and then now this. It's like, okay, cool. I'm fine with this. So I still think Scott Adkins doesn't get a lot of credit that he really deserves. So
yeah. Absolutely.
I'm going to say my positive, which CJ said a lot of good things, is that in a martial arts movie, and I will directly point to the Raid 2. The Raid 1 was amazing. It hit every element of what you want in a old school martial arts movie, and added, new and current movie tactics that works that made it work in America. With this movie, I think they just upped the ante of the Raid 1, where they had a story that worked, but the action was there. The action was not shortchanged. The action wasn't even forced. It worked for what the story wanted to do. It provided the martial arts fans exactly the experience you want, but also made it an enjoyable movie for anybody who may not be, on par with some of these names, that may just like one or two persons. So like, I literally think that this movie did something so special that either you walked in here only liking one person, walking out liking all 6 or 7, or just an appreciation of like, I never knew who this person is. Now I need to go research and watch other movies. And I think that's brilliant. But my problem is I just feel like this movie just deserved more than a one-day run in the theater. Like it just was such a good movie. I understand that the promotion and the marketing wasn't behind it. I understand that it's going on VOD. But when this movie and considering listening to the making of the movie afterwards, considering that this was a 3-year project, I believe it was, of them wanting to do this.
Yeah.
I feel like, and this is obviously speaking as a fan, I feel like when there's so much heart invested in this, that they actually deserve for this to get a bigger run and push.
I got an answer for that, but I'll let Jamal go before I go into that because there's an answer for that actually.
Okay, it's just too much star power here for me, and the story worked. It worked for it worked for the big screen. That I feel like it could have got a better run, but nonetheless, this was an amazing movie. It was really good, and to counteract what CJ said, Michael Jaa White got shorted no one got shorted in the movie. Everyone shined. Everyone had performance. Everyone had good combinations of fighting styles that we didn't know we wanted. Michael Bisping had a come out party, if I must say. Scott Adkins, the big boss, looked super strong. Michael Jai White Death was like you trying to play your friend in Mortal Kombat, and he pulls the controller out on you, and you're just sitting there like, "Come on, dude! Like, yeah, like really, this is what you want to do for a win?" You know, it was. I felt robbed. That's all I'm gonna say. But nonetheless, the movie was great.
All right.
So, CJ, if you got an answer for it, let's hear it, man.
All right. So, I worked in a mom and pop video store for a while, and the martial arts DVDs were that, and the black entertainment movies were kind of like the big sellers in our store. So, I always had wondered why we never got a lot of these kind of martial arts type movies in theaters. Because I remember at one point, the last one we got was, what was it? I think before the raid, I forgot, it was a Jet Li movie. It was one of those martial arts epics type movies.
Immortal?
It might have been Immortal, something like that. That came out in theaters, right?
Yes.
And what I noticed is that after that, you did like, I don't know whether it's a Hollywood thing or maybe these businesses feel it's not worth the money.
I'm sorry, not Fearless, not Immortal.
Yeah, Fearless. They never like. I don't know whether it's the companies that feel it's a waste to try to put a lot of money into pushing these movies in theaters so much as that putting them on DVD is better. Because like the Raid and Raid 2, they came to American theaters and they made decent money, but they weren't like blowing up the box office. You know, so it's like with this movie, I see why the company didn't put it in theaters, because it's a lot of money just to get into X amount of theaters. And considering all the movies that's coming out now, that shit would have got overshadowed.
Fair point.
Especially when you got
the short answer is
Captain Marvel's out. You got all these, and it's like triple threat. It would have made money, but I don't think it would have made like huge amounts to offset how much they would have spent putting it out in theaters and stuff. So,
yeah, I want to agree, and I think that the short answer is distribution.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. The distribution company was Well Go USA, and they distribute a lot of Chinese and Korean movies to the U.S. usually within a few weeks of release in its original country. Mm-hmm. And for this to be picked up by them and not like a bigger independent studio like Sony Pictures Classics or Lionsgate or something like that is pretty telling of the push that they're going to have in the U.S. market anyway.
Yeah.
So the fact that they got a 1 day, 1 show release was probably, right on time for them because they know it's coming to Netflix and it's going to be in 100 million homes come the weekend.
Okay.
Yep.
So I think for that reason, now if it were a 1 day deal and not released on video on demand or Netflix or wherever, then yes, that is a disservice to the movie because it deserves better than that. I do think that there is something about seeing a movie in the theater, and I do think that seeing a movie on Netflix just at home, no matter how good it is or where you see it, whether it's Netflix or Hulu or Amazon, it does cheapen the experience.
Oh yeah,
there's no big budget feel. Well, possibly, but you do. It's not a big budget feel if you're watching the Avengers for the first time. If you're watching Infinity War for the first time on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
So
unless you have like one of those big 4K TVs, the theater experience does help in terms of getting a feel for it and stuff. And this movie, like, look, for me, I didn't get a chance to see it in theaters because I was watching Us. So it was like, all right, I'll catch it on Netflix and stuff. And then when I'm watching it, like I said, good quality. I'm watching this stuff, and I was like, I gotta imagine if I was watching this in theaters, it would pop so good.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm just gonna say something real quick. Immediately in this movie, I was going to say that I felt like the women was getting passes in this movie because there was an ample opportunity for women to absolutely get. And when I say women, I mean like bystanders, not like the martial arts. So the bystanders, they was getting passes because obviously this was a heist movie, so that involves a lot of killing and all this other good stuff. And this movie poured on with the gore for sure.
And at
one point, when I said to myself, like, "Oh, come on," I'm like, "No one's going to get killed here," and I put my foot right in my mouth. When you want to talk about sound effects, there's this one particular part in the movie when you guys see it that you guys going to know exactly what I'm talking about. where you're going to wonder, how did it feel to be around a crowd of people when a certain thing happened and everybody in the theater just loses their shit for like at least 30 seconds. Like, I couldn't tell you what happened after that because everyone was stuck on that one moment. So.
I know what moment you're talking about. And I'm sitting there like,
well, I mean, to be fair, we saw it at different theaters. In my theater, there was definitely one poignant moment, and that was wicked unfortunate. And then there was another moment in the police station, just in general.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. So. So that was another like, oh shit moment. That was a problem for a lot of people. We've talked about a lot about what we like, and we've talked about a lot about what the movie means to have it out there. Now, what do you think the movie needs to improve on? What would you like to have seen more of from the movie?
I'm going to say this. Mm-hmm. There's not much to be improved here. This is a good stepping stone. Maybe they can get a bigger fan base, and we'd like to see more of this. I just think this worked together. We can keep talking about the Expendables comparison because it was an all-star cast, but there's nothing that I feel needs to be improved immediately besides reaching a bigger audience, and hopefully Netflix is the key to do that. Give us more of this. That's all I got.
I think if they did do it and stuff, kind of make it an anthology kind of thing, because back in the day, Jackie Chan, when he did Police Story, Michelle Yeoh's character branched off into her own movie. It'd be nice if they branched off and did like a side story to Triple Threat, where it's like maybe the ladies that's in the martial arts thing right now, do it on them or something like that. That'd be nice. Or maybe branch off on somebody else. It'd be pretty nice to actually have the kind of anthology type Triple Threat series or whatever of that ilk and stuff. Because I think this company, like you said, this company and Netflix, they can definitely keep going. Because I mean, let's be real about this. Netflix has action movies like this on their platform anyways. So this just amps it up even more.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's like I said, small things, like I said, with the Michael Jaa White thing and stuff, it's nitpicks and stuff.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I didn't really had a problem. I actually stayed with the whole movie the whole time. I never once felt I was bored, which is a good thing because they managed to keep everything paced. Because even when it slows down at one point in the movie, it's just there to service the plot for a minute, and it's like, okay, boom, let's get to the finale, let's go.
Yeah, thank you for bringing up my other point too. There was really no fillers in this movie. There was one dinner scene that lasted for about 15 to 10 minutes that provided a comedic relief, but there's no fillers in this movie. The plot rides, the action goes. It's just that good.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why I said instead of like likes and dislikes, because I really don't think there's much to dislike about the movie. There may be things that, I would like to see done differently. I want a little bit more of this or less of that. But there's nothing really dislikable about the film, except the fact that Michael Jaa White totally got cheesed. But that's just a story thing. That's a plot thing, and that is what it is. But other than that, I really wholeheartedly enjoyed it. We'll talk final grades in a second, but I really think that the one thing that I really wanted more of was everything. The movie was only an hour and 36 minutes. I would have been okay with it running another 20, whether that's in action sequences, whether that's in some little bit more exposition from the story. I kind of wanted more of everything, which is a good problem to have, because a lot of movies you kind of go, okay, Lord of the Rings, end already. It was great. We're done here. And that wasn't the case with this movie. So let's go final grades before we wrap this little piece up. Personally, I'm going to kick it off and say that I'm going to give it a solid B+. I like the movie. I recommend the movie. See the movie, especially in the theater if you can. I think it's going to be one of those slept-on movies in your martial arts repertoire that you didn't know you needed to have. I think that if you don't know or don't remember what Tony Jaa brings to the table, because he's kind of been out of the loop in America for a while, this is going to get you back in. If you don't remember Iko, because Headshot was like a one-off thing a couple of years ago, and everybody's still harping on the raid from more than a few years ago. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a thing because the kid has, he should be. I don't want to say the Jackie Chan because he's built like a very specific niche, but Iko should be a star in the U.S.
Yeah, Yeah,
I mean, you get that man a Rosetta Stone and let him learn English. And honest to God, the dude has like the look and obviously the physicality to be a legit star.
And English is coming. There's no doubt. It's on.
Yeah.
It's improving for sure.
Oh,
so absolutely, him and Tony Jaa was like surprisingly well done in English, and they had to revert back to Indonesian and Thai when necessary. And I also like that too, that they didn't shy away from people speaking languages in their language, because that's what you do in the world.
Yes, please elaborate on that when you talked about how dialogue in certain settings was politically correct, so to say.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not necessarily politically correct, just more so accurate. Iko's from Indonesia. His character was from Indonesia. He spoke Indonesian when he didn't speak English. And we know that English isn't his first language, so it wasn't necessarily like, especially with the country being set in Southeast Asia, you don't need to speak English. Tony Jaa, same thing. He spoke a little bit of English, but mostly Thai. Tiger Chen is Chinese, and the heroine of the movie or the damsel in distress in the movie is Chinese. So they had most of the conversations in Mandarin, going back and forth. So it doesn't have to be this like, you don't have to be afraid of subtitles. And I think that's a thing that hurt the Raid in the West, where it's like, this movie's awesome, but I'll never read a movie in my life. Get it off my TV. And that's really unfortunate, because the Raid, the biggest like elephant in the room wasn't Mad Dog, or wasn't reaching the chief on the top floor. It was the subtitles for a lot of people.
Which is ironic, considering in Raid 2, two of the people actually could speak English, and they spoke English like for a couple of scenes. That was the wild part of Raid 2. It's like, they can speak English. All right, it's not bad, But yeah, I think we and you see it with anime too. I think we're still in that place in America where we see subtitles and it's like instant turn off. It has to be dubbed, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with seeing subtitles and stuff. It's just that's just what it is. It is. I'm not saying, unfortunately, but people just can't get past that whole I got to read while watching thing. So I don't know what you can do for that, honestly.
Yeah, but that's the hit that you're always going to take on a movie with subtitles. I don't care where it's from.
Yeah.
In the language, I don't care what language is, if it's in, real or not. But the story is still the story. Personally, Apocalypto is one of my favorite movies of all time. Nobody speaks that language anymore.
Nope.
But the story is so simple and immersive that you really don't need to speak ancient Mayan to understand what's going on. Triple Threat is a similar thing with a multinational cast. So yeah, they speak all the languages. That's okay, and it just adds a bit of accuracy for me. That I don't hear some white guy from Sacramento of an Asian descent, voicing over Tiger Chen.
Yeah.
That's not what I need. So what's your final grade on this one, CJ?
Yeah, I'm in the same group. It's a solid B+, so I mean that's a solid 8 for me, easily.
Yeah. 2 Chains, what about you?
Same, B+, but also I think this is the best modern martial arts movie of its time, just because I feel like it pleases its core fan base, and I feel like it will attract others. I cannot wait to see what it does on Netflix, because we know how Netflix are with their movies, and they analytically drop them at the right time, and then social media goes crazy, and movies that aren't really that good get a lot of buzz. I'll be curious to see what type of reaction that this movie gets from the people who didn't geek out to go see it when it came in for that one day. So I'm really appreciative of it. Of course, The Raid is one of the last few that everyone is really high on, but as a complete movie as far as story and action and the casting, this is definitely one of the best.
Yeah, I would say like if we're going to like draw a hard line at The Raid 2 and say that that's like the last great foreign action film, I can't argue that point, but to be fair, this is better than things that are not named The Raid 2, like Hardcore Henry and Killshot and a couple others that are just like, okay, I see what you did there. It's good enough action for me. But this is definitely better than that with a cohesive story and the matchups that we needed. And one last thing that I'll say before we get out of here is I need Michael Jai White and Iko Uwais in a buddy cop comedy.
Damn.
Yes, I do.
I need that right now.
Book it.
I don't care where they work. I don't care if Michael Jai White has to fly to Indonesia and do like a rush hour thing.
They all say they love Thailand, so that's fair grounds right there.
I mean, fair enough. But Iko is from Indonesia, and that's like a big deal to him. So I don't care. Get his ass on the plane to Jakarta, and let's do Rush Hour Jakarta or something therein. But I need that movie to happen because the interactions in this film definitely gave me those vibes, and I'm definitely all for it.
Right on.
So before we wrap this up, any parting shots from you guys?
Go see this movie and check out me and Najia's review of Us.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's all I got. Let's end it, man. I appreciate everybody coming on. It was a good time. Good movie. I hope everybody listens to this. Let us know what you think when it comes out on Netflix. You probably can find it on whatever you find your scummy little low sources of movies nowadays. But
I mean, honestly, if you're watching this on the Fire Stick, shame on you.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Put some respect on this movie's name.
For sure. But definitely give us a shout. Let us know what you think about this. And as always, we got more movie reviews coming out more and more often. So thank you for always listening to us. And we'll see you guys for our next movie reviews because the summer's heating up. So got a lot of stuff that we need to cover.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Endgame is around the corner. John Wick 3. Crazy stuff.
Yep.
So.
All right.
Later.
Well, see ya.